If all you need to know is if M. Night embarrassed himself one more time with Split, he didn't. It's actually pretty good. Split is a film that's written, directed by M. Night Shyamalan and stars James McAvoy. In the film, 3 high school girls are kidnapped by James McAvoy only to discover that he exhibits 23 different personalities. And while the story plays out fairly straightforward, this is still an M. Night movie, so there are some twists and turns along the way, so I would highly recommend that you avoid too many reviews, reading any interviews, or even looking at the Wikipedia page before going to go see this movie. And to that point, I don't want to spoil the plot at all, but I do want to set right expectations. I know if I heard the description of the plot that I heard of this movie, I would think of the movie 10 Cloverfield Lane, in that it's about someone kidnapped with a mentally unstable person, and the characters are trying to escape, and there's twists and turns all along the way. And that's true of this movie, but the storytelling mechanisms are entirely different. This movie doesn't feel claustrophobic. There are environments outside of the place where the people are held captive. There's storylines going on outside of it. And so it unfolds very differently from 10 Cloverfield Lane. So let's talk about the good. Just right off the bat, you gotta talk about James McAvoy. He's of course a great actor, and this movie gives him the opportunity really just to tee off. He does a great job switching from little kid to grown woman to crazy guy, and he just switched between all of it, sometimes in the same scene, and it's just really incredible to watch, just very engrossing. Now, I had someone ask me, is it an Oscar-worthy performance? And for me, these types of roles that feel like they're just letting an actor just kind of tee off on something doesn't tend to be the stuff that I think Oscar-worthy. I think just have something that has a little bit more down-to-earth realism and subtlety to it. But as for a great actor getting an opportunity to just shine and chew up scenery and just have a good fun time, yeah, he does a great job. Second thing you got to talk about is that M. Night has constructed a story that keeps you engaged throughout and has you asking questions and getting excited for what's going to happen next. So in that regard, I think it works just kind of as a simple story. This isn't a big ambitious story. It's not trying to be like The Sixth Sense or anything like that, but it is a good, engaging, thrilling story. Third, this film actually has a kind of a sense of humor to it. It might be one of his funnier films, and I wasn't expecting that at all going into it, but it just finds ways to like play off the situation. And, you know, James McAvoy is playing like a 9-year-old kid during part of it. There's some funny things that come out of that, and so it has much more of a sense of humor than I was expecting it to have. With that said, it's not a perfect film, so let's talk about the bad. First off, some of the dialogue I don't think works all that well. In particular, the dialogue between the teenage girls. It feels like a guy in his 40s trying to write like teenage girls as opposed to fluid teenage girl dialogue. The second problem is because of the inherent nature of the story, the movie doesn't have a clear lead in it. James McAvoy is obviously the star, but the main character is probably one of the girls, but then there's other stuff that goes on outside of environments where either one of those people are at, and so there's not a real clear perspective, and so that made parts of the story feel a bit disjointed. Third, I think this movie violates the contract with the audience, and so what I mean by that is every film in the first 20 or so minutes establishes certain rules of the type of film that you're watching and what type of rules apply, and I believe that this movie, as it goes along, starts to bend and possibly break some of those rules that are established with the audience. Some people will love that, some people will hate that, but it's something for me I was like, all right, I don't know that I agree with where you're going here, that this is not necessarily the movie that I thought we were in for with the ride that we were on. You're changing the contract a little bit. Now, before we go into my rating, there's one more thing we got to talk about, because this is an M. Night Shyamalan film, the twist. There is a twist. I did not see it coming, and it affected the story differently than I was anticipating. That's all I'll say. So overall, this movie isn't nearly as great as his best films, but it is way above his embarrassing worst films. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's a thrilling story with a great acting, a very direct and straightforward story, and some twists and turns along the way that I did not see coming. Now, if I'm being honest, if you're an M. Night Shyamalan fan, I hope you go see this movie. I think you're going to like it. I think there's going to be some good discussion about it. but that's just my opinion. While I would love to talk with you about the movie Split, I don't want any spoilers in the comment section. They will be promptly deleted on this video. But I would love to talk with you about M. Night Shyamalan. Tell me your favorite movie and your least favorite movie of his in the comment section. I don't want to just talk about M. Night. I want to talk about M. Night with you. So let's have a lively discussion down in there. If you're new to my channel, you never click that subscribe button, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I love to review movies. I talk about the daily movie news all during the week, but really I want to talk with you, and so please join my channel, click that subscribe button, and thank you for watching.